Hello there, my name is Teleola and this is Career Talks with me. So, the purpose of this is to showcase Nigerian trained lawyers who are now in the diaspora doing amazing things. So, they'll be sharing their personal experiences, and this would help those who are looking to tow a similar path as them. This promises to be value packed. Make sure you stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel again. So, now today, my guest is the poster girl for the Chevening scholarship. So, yeah, we went to law school together. Yeah, we were in the same set, although we're not in the same campus. And since then, she's done great things. But yeah, let me just allow you introduce yourself to us briefly.
Hi, Taylor. Thanks for having me. We were actually in the same law school campus. You were in Lagos, right?
Yes, I was.
Lagos.
Oh, really?
We're just not in the same group. Yeah, we were not in the same group. I was in Garrick's group. I was in Garrick's group. So it's only, people in group 7 that really know me. Okay, thank you. So my name is Kuseme Iseh. I'm a Chevening scholar. Like they always say, once a Chevening scholar, always a Chevening scholar. But my scholarship was between 2020 and 2021. That I came to the UK to do my master's degree through the Chevening scholarship. So after my master's degree, of course, I went back to Nigeria to continue working there. So I think that's briefly me. I'm a lawyer. I have a YouTube channel in my name. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, so please, could you tell us the motivations behind your career transition?
I have a screen that I took down some notes, so in case my eyes go this way, just bear with me. Would I say my career was a transitioned one because I am still working in a legal related role I'm working as a contract manager for a UK higher education. So of course the role needs like some legal knowledge, but I have some colleagues who are not lawyers. So and the motivation was back then I was in Nigeria, I was working as in-house counsel and I was the legal counsel. We had the head legal. After that, what? As an in-house counsel, we have the legal department. And so we had the head legal, we had me, we had a junior legal officer. So there was I wasn't seeing myself growing in that place. Like, I'm not going to be the head legal anytime soon. So I decided that it was time to actually do a career shift or an employer shift. Another thing that really hastened the process for me was the income. My income was not really good, and the inflation in the country, depreciating naira, the whole thing was not just it. It got to here. I was like, if I stay in this country for the next 12 months, I will not even have any savings because at that point I was literally living from hand to mouth. So it was more of I want to increase my earning capacity and I want to go somewhere that I can grow in my career.
Okay. Okay, so you mentioned that you now work in the UK, right, as a legal contracts manager. So you're still within that legal space. Right. So what steps did you take to make this move from Nigeria to the UK in your current role? Because I know that people would want to know. People are always in my DMs every time asking, "What? How can we do it? How can we move to the UK? Please provide insights, more information." So please, could you provide some more information on that?
So, like I said before, that I have a YouTube channel. So most of the study abroad content I have, how to move, how to study, how to get a job is there, just in case there are people who may want more information. So for me, what I did to move, because when I started applying for jobs, I was applying for jobs in law firms, because after all, I have a master's degree from the UK. So I was applying for, my master's degree was in international dispute resolution. So I was applying for dispute resolution lawyer roles and all of that. And it wasn't favorable. It wasn't really, I wasn't getting any feedback, and I was very discouraged. And then after a while, I was like, maybe I should try other legal related roles, because I think the most challenge that I had in, when I was applying, is because I'm not qualified to practice in the UK. So sometimes you would see vacancies and they're like, you have to be qualified in the UK and all of that. So I think that disqualified me in a lot of applications. So the moment I said, okay, I think that I should maybe apply to other legal related roles, not just every time law firm, law firm. Let me try something else. So I decided, I didn't even know that there were roles like contract manager in a university. Because I was an in-house counsel, I did everything legal for the organization. When I was in a law firm, of course, we know what that means. I did everything law. So I didn't know that apart from having in-house counsel, in-house legal professionals in universities, they also have different set of professionals that are contract managers, literally research contract managers only. So when I saw that role, I don't even know, I think I was just looking for legal related roles online. Then I saw this website, jobs.ac.uk, and I went in there and I found that all the roles on that website was either university or NHS related. They were mostly jobs in research institutions. So it could be a university, it could be, a charity that is focused on research, it could be an NHS research. Yeah. So I saw contract managers, I saw legal officers, contract managers. I'm like, what is this? So by the time I opened the vacancies and I saw what they were looking for, I knew that I could not use my legal professional CV to apply, because if they open this CV and see that this is a lawyer that is this is a 5 years experienced lawyer, we are not looking for a 5 years experienced lawyer, we are looking for a contracts professional, which could either be a lawyer or could not be a lawyer. So I needed to tone down my legal side and enhance my contract professionalism side. So I did a new CV. Of course, the CV I used to apply for legal, I dumped it. I don't even know where I kept it. I went on Canva, because I went on Canva because I needed like a template so I could easily adapt to suit what I needed. So I got a professional template on Canva, and then I worked on my CV and my cover letter just to make sure that it fits the ATS compliance systems, because most of these applications, once you pop it on, once you submit your application, it doesn't get to the human being first. It goes through the the all these CV selection systems, that if your CV is not tailored with the keywords they want, it won't even make it there. So that's what I did first. So I changed my CV, I changed my cover letter. And I think another thing I did was I mentally prepared my mind for the shift, because all my experience has been in a legal environment. And I'm applying for a job that is not legally focused, because even in my institution we have lawyers, and we also have contract managers that are strictly reviewing legal contracts. My role is more of reviewing research related contracts. So I had to like mentally prepare, because I'm always running away from being a lecturer. Everybody keeps saying, because you need to be a lecturer, and I'm like, no. So anything that takes me back to that environment that's like very close to being a lecturer, I don't like it, because any little thing I could slip into becoming a lecturer. So, but this role was research related, means I'm going to work with lecturers. So I needed to like mentally prepare my mind and ensure that as I'm about to embark on this journey, I will get the opportunity and I'm willing to do what it takes to excel in that role. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. One thing that I picked up was the fact that you had to tailor your CV for that role. Yes, because some people just have one CV and you have different things on it, and your experience is not suited to the role that you want. So yes, thank you so much for that nugget. So this takes me on to the next question, which is, what advice would you have for someone who's looking to make a similar career move as you?
Well, I've talked about the CV. So of course you can't use the same CV to apply for all kinds of jobs. Tailor your CV always. I think another thing is know what you can offer. You can be a lawyer with 10 years of experience. Nobody cares. What can you do for my institution? You're applying for this role. 1,001 other people are applying for the role. What can you offer your potential employer? Because you should be able to communicate this in writing, that is in your CV and in your cover letter, and also orally during the interview. So what's your value proposition? If they ask you why should we hire you, what are you going to say? Just try to, I used to tell people I have lots of experiences. I have not just worked in law, I have also worked in higher education while I was studying. So I'm not gonna just throw at an employer all my experiences. I'm gonna confuse that employer. Am I a lawyer? Am I a content creator? Am I a study abroad expert? Am I a consult? What am I? I'm gonna confuse the employer. I need to give the employer the personality that the employer is looking for. So the jobs I was applying for, the vacancy says contract manager, and in the job description they have said what you're going to be doing in that role. And then they have person specification, which says this is the ideal candidate for this role. You should be able to communicate your value to fit in to that person's specification. So that's the first thing you should do. The second thing I have here is I've said that, know how to communicate your transferable skills both orally and in writing. So working in a strictly legal environment, we have our legal terminologies, we have so many things that may not really fit into a research environment, right? How are you going to show that you're able to? Because you cannot just say because it's not a legal role, then everything you know about law is not useful. That's not true. You have transferable skills, but you have to be able to demonstrate how you are going to apply these transferable skills in this role. For instance, communication skills, ability to work with stakeholders, relationship skills, attention to detail. Those are the skills that you use as a lawyer. And you still need those skills here. And you should be able to demonstrate that. Don't be afraid of the fact that, because they're always going to ask you, you've not worked in this role before. How do you think you're going to be able to excel? Girl, I'm definitely going to excel because I have this. These are the skills I have used as a lawyer. Over years, I have done research. In fact, I've done an extensive research during my master's degree in law. As an in-house counsel, I have reviewed all different types of agreements. I have to pay rapt attention to detail to identify potential risk. Of course, these are the skills I'm going to transfer to the current role. And this is not just strictly about contract manager roles. Similar roles, a lot of roles, you would need all these soft skills. And you should be able to demonstrate that you can transfer these skills and apply to the current role. I think the last point I have under here is be confident and audacious. Like, you would see vacancies and you're like, I don't have this experience. Think, are you really sure you don't have that experience? Maybe you have the experience. It's like saying that if I had seen this role, contract manager, I'm like, I've never been a contract manager before. You have, because you have worked in a law firm, you've probably reviewed lots of contracts. Okay, for me, I worked in a law firm, I reviewed different contracts. I worked as in-house counsel, I reviewed different contracts. But I was not like a contract manager. I was an in-house legal counsel. But it means that I can also do the things that they're looking for. So even if the job description is like 10 job descriptions and you're able to do only 7 and not the 10, you will learn on the job. So don't have cold feet like, oh, I don't think they're going to hire me. In fact, when I applied for the job, there was a contract associate role, there was a contract manager role. So the contract manager is the line manager for the associate. I applied for both. I attended both interviews. They're like, why are you applying for associate and you're applying for manager? I'm like, because I believe that I have the qualifications to manage. I've been doing this for 5 years. The people that are doing it, they don't have two heads. And let me tell you, every manager learned on the job. They did not just wake up and become a manager. So do you know what happened? They hired me as an associate, and in 6 months, I became a manager. That same manager they did not give me. I still applied again. So just be audacious, be confident. Don't, even if it's okay. It's better you try and get a no than not try at all, because you'll be thinking, what if I had tried? And if you don't try, you won't even know. Because I didn't think that I would get a manager. I was like, I've not worked in a research environment like that before, and I was telling my friends that maybe I should just stick to this associate role. They were like, apply for the manager as well. Apply, apply, apply. And then I got in as an associate, and in 6 months, applied for the managerial role, and I got it. So that means they knew that I could do it, and I was able to learn really fast on the job. So those are the three things that I would advise someone that is willing to switch.
Thank you for that. Thank you for pointing that out. Just be confident. Know that you possess these skills. Because sometimes when people reach out to me and like they want to transition to compliance and they're like, oh, what do I need to do? Some people, you even have a master's degree, you have a PhD. You have these skills, honestly. And I'm like, no, you have these skills. Exactly. So it's not rocket science. You can do it. If you went through Nigerian law school, you can do anything in life, to be honest. You can. Yes. So that takes me to my next question. So is there anything that you feel like you would have done differently during this your career transition journey?
Well, I would say no, because I really have not wanted to write the qualifying legal law exams in the UK, and I've never really thought about wanting to do that exam, because I know that that exam is one thing that would have helped me get into law firms if I wanted to, because all the rejections I got applying to law firms was majorly because I didn't have that qualification. So if you know that you want to work in a law firm, even to be like an in-house counsel or contract manager, or let's just say in-house counsel in commercial companies, private companies, they would usually want people that are qualified in the UK. So if you know that that's what you want, I would advise that go for that exams. I have really not wanted to write the exam because I feel like I don't think I want to be in a strictly law firm, and if I have to go start writing that exam, that's like waste of money for me or time, because what if I don't end up using it? So but if you're convinced that this is the path you want to follow, the earlier you write that exam, the better. Which also goes to other professional exams, like for instance compliance. There might be exams that you need to write. So if you identify a career path that you want to take and there is a certification you need, the earlier you take it, the better. Absolutely. So yeah, so literally that's it for me, because I feel like I did everything and the one that worked was the one that clicked. Because yeah, looking back, I've just been a year here so far. So I have just been trying to gather as much industry experience as possible, because yes, I have work experience, but it was not in a university environment, it was in a commercial environment. So moving to research is like moving to university. It is a charity organization, it is more focused on research, it is less commercial. So the industry practice, industry policies are different. So when I got in, I was like, I need to soak in as much industry policy as much as I can, because I need it here. And I think I've been able to do that, because these days, before you even drop like what do we do in this, I already know. So I think any industry you switch into, you can be a contract manager for a private company. The industry policies, the company policies will be different because of whatever is happening in that industry, in that sector. So that's what you need to know and you need to pick up.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's important to keep learning. So even if you had moved from a similar organization in Nigeria, the way things work here are different. So you have to immerse yourself in how they do things and the different policies that apply. Okay, so would you say that you've particularly faced any challenges regarding your career transition?
Um, I would say yes, the rejections were the challenges. It was a lot of rejection. In fact, so when I first moved to Nigeria, I was applying for jobs because I had a job in Nigeria. But excuse me, I expected that coming back, having a master's degree, and back, I should be earning more. They should be looking for me. They should be looking for me. I should not be looking for them. It was not like that. I was applying for jobs, and the funny thing is, I'll do that interview. In fact, I even did interviews on compliance rules in Nigeria. Banco, I did interview. Industrial, I did interview. No, there's no place I not do interview. But I was not just getting feedback. I think maybe they were kind of, some of them maybe did not even get back to me. Some of them would say that they think they're looking for someone lower, someone who has less experience and qualifications because they cannot pay what I need. So it was just very frustrating. And then I also applied abroad. UK, US, Canada, Australia. I was applying to jobs in the whole wide world, France, everywhere. I did not even get any positive feedback interview. So at the point I was extremely discouraged. I just stopped applying for like 6 months. I did not apply for any job. I was facing my boring job and I was facing my content creation. In fact, I put so much passion. I was now thinking, should I go into full-time content creation? Because I was so frustrated. I was not getting any job. So, and I was now beginning to enjoy the content creation so much that I was really thinking, should I just go full-time with my consulting, study abroad consulting? After all, I'm passionate about it. Well, after a while, I don't know, my friends started motivating me again. Maybe you should try again. Just try again. Just try again. So when I now decided to try again, I decided that, okay, I'm going to change this. I'm not going to use the same CV that I used earlier. I'm going to use a different CV, a different cover letter, and I'm going to try a different sector. Since law firms are not answering me, let me try another place. And trust me, when I did that, I had so much motivation, passion, and I was able to communicate my transferable skills in this application so much that I did just 5 applications. I got like 3 interviews and I got one job. Yeah. So that was the challenge. And yeah, it was so frustrating. And yeah, you just need to surround yourself with positive people so that when you're that frustrated and low, yes, they'll allow you to be in that moment and just rejuvenate, take your time off the applications, but you need somebody to pull you back up to like, girl, come back. You need to start these applications all over again. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, it's important to surround yourself with people who will push you, who would help you. Yes, yes, that's important because I'm sure you maybe today your story might have been different if you didn't have that friend in your life at that season.
It was not just one friend, like 3 friends. They were just on my neck every time. How far? Are you ready? Because they were in the UK. They already got jobs in the UK. They were not Chevening scholars, so they didn't have to go back to Nigeria. So they had stayed back in the UK, but they really needed me back. And like every time, girl, what's up? Nothing. I was just discouraged. But then they just kept on encouraging me. Don't worry. They'll now be giving me success stories like, oh, I heard one person, she just resumed job. Don't she just came. This other person, my friend, she came. So they were just giving me all those success stories to motivate me. And I was eventually a success story. So yeah.
Yes, exactly. You are. That's why you're here today. Yes. So, so can we talk about the elephant in the room? Sponsorship. Sponsorship, because that's the issue with most Nigerians. They're like a million and one jobs out there, but it seems like right now employers are not that willing to sponsor. In fact, I even had a call with someone yesterday, and she was asking about sponsorships, and I said, even though it's difficult, but I know that people are getting sponsored, so keep going. So how was your experience regarding sponsorship?
Yeah, I would also say that some of the rejections might have also been the fact that I was not in the UK, and I would always tell them in the application that I need sponsorship. Yeah, that's true that most employers are averse to sponsoring because I have come to discover that sponsoring people is also expensive for employers because they have to pay some money to the UKVI. Just like we are paying for the visa, the employer is also paying money to get the COS, the sponsorship number, and give you. So most employers are averse to that because they don't want to have that extra expense. So if they can get somebody that doesn't need sponsorship, then that's fine. So I would say that if you're job hunting, most times small companies might not want to sponsor because they don't have the budget. And maybe if you're in an industry that you know that they're like, for instance, we are lawyers. There are lots of lawyers in the UK, to be honest. So our industry is not really welcoming to sponsor. But if you're in tech, it's easier. If you're in healthcare, it's very easy to get sponsorship. So what I usually would recommend would be that focus on multinational companies, focus on government parastatals, focus on universities, focus on NHS. They are contract managers in NHS. The same job I'm doing, they are in NHS. And really? Of course, NHS is research. So literally what I do is research. So most research related charities like cancer research, this, they have it. You will not even know. They have it. And then NHS has it. So I would say that that website I said jobs.ac.uk has most research related roles, which are mostly in unis, NHS and all of that. Go there, look for roles because a university employs everybody. If you're in tech or if you're an accountant, there is a department for you in government parastatals in NHS everywhere. Just go and look for the vacancy that suits you, because those organizations are too big. They have the budget sponsorship. They don't sweat to sponsor. Another thing you need to understand is that most companies have a threshold, it's fixed, a range, for a number of people they can sponsor in a year. So if this company has just applied to get to become a sponsor, and then they have 10 slots to sponsor foreigners, they're not going to be hiring anyhow. They're only going to reserve that slot for the best of the best hires, which could be people in managerial roles, people in directorship roles, people that they're really looking for to lead the organization. So they will not be able to really be free to sponsor as much as possible. Well, universities, NHS, government, they don't have any quota now. They don't have quota. Their own quota could be as much as possible. So it is easier for those organizations to sponsor. So maybe shifting focus from and yes, these places I have mentioned are not the best paying employers, but you need to get into the system first. Because when you get into the system, now that I already have a sponsor, I'm already in the system. If I want to switch, it is easier for me to switch from the inside than still being out there. So yes, you might be discouraged with the salary, the pay, because private companies obviously would pay better, law firms pay better, commercial organizations pay better, but will they sponsor you? You're looking for sponsorship. So you can take a pay cut just to get that visa first, knowing that after 5 years you can earn as much as you want, because you now have negotiating power to go anywhere you want. You will not need a visa, and nobody says that you have to stay with one employer for 5 years. You can switch as long as you now eventually get a sponsorship. So the first step is find an employer that will sponsor you. Forget about the pay. Me, I like pay. After all, that's why I moved. But don't really care if the pay is not as juicy as you would have expected from a commercial company that has refused to sponsor you. So
Yeah, thank you for that. So even with commercial companies, sometimes you might even take a pay cut to get maybe better policies. For instance, maybe if another company has better maternity pay or flexible working, yeah, I know people who have done that. They've taken a pay cut because of the quality of life that it gives you. So absolutely, don't be too rigid. Be flexible. Who said that after 1 year you can't get sponsored by another employer and you can't double your pay? Yeah, so it's important to think about the bigger picture and play the long game. Don't be short sighted. Okay, so that takes me, yes, so that takes me to the final question. So, how has it been? Yeah, so have you encountered any culture shocks like in the working environment here?
culture shocks. Of course, there's always culture shock, but maybe it is more lenient on me because I was already here. If you get what I mean, I already studied here, I already did some work here, so I already started picking up those cultures. But definitely, there's gonna be culture shock, and the very first is that you're gonna do trainings. Your head will buzz the first 1 month of resumption. You're going to do all the trainings in that industry. And these trainings are not just seminars and classes. I'm sure you know, you're gonna write tests after each of these trainings, and then they'll say, like, if you don't have 80 over 100, you have to do the training again. Hey, Jesus. You will read. It will be like you are doing an intensive 3-month certification course. because they're going to be bombarding you. You're going to read company policy on this, on this. Up to 20 different areas. You're reading policies, you're writing exams. So that was the first culture shock, because in Nigeria, I worked with two companies. I did not have to do all of that. I just did maybe 3 hours of induction and I'm fine. But here, 1 month, you're still doing induction. That was the culture shock, the very first one. And all my friends that have gotten jobs here in the UK, they have the same experience. So get ready for that. That mental work once you resume. Another thing that I would say was a bit of culture shock. Of course, you have to call people by names, and we literally have an open office where everybody sits there. Your line manager sits there, the head of department sits there, everybody just sits there, the director sits there. So you don't really have as much privacy. For instance, in Nigeria, I had an enclosed office. So myself and the other legal officer, we were in the same enclosed office, just two of us. So it was a bit of private, sometimes we could have discussions. Sometimes I could even stay there and have a meeting with a client, my personal client, because of my consulting stuff, which like my side hustle. And then my colleagues at work knew that I had this side hustle. So sometimes maybe after 5 p.m. when work closes, you see because I'm still in the office and they know what I'm doing, and that's fine. That privacy was there. But here it's an open office. Everybody is sitting there. You cannot sleep. You cannot doze off. Impossible. You have to just do the work. Once you come into the office, you're working. Lunchtime, you go on lunch, go for your break, come back, continue working. It's not that free-handed like it was for me in Nigeria, where I felt like I could do whatever in my enclosed office and all of that. So that is there. And then, of course, your boss is not a sir, is his name, his or her name. And then the fact that most times, if you have, for instance, I want something from a colleague, I want a colleague to do something for me, I go over to their desk to make an oral request. They will eventually put it down in writing. It will come via email. Oh, further to our discussion earlier, I'm like, did that really have to come in writing? Yes, it had to. So I discovered that you literally need everything in writing, and they always find a way to put something down in writing for reference purposes. And they would always refer to what you said, to what you did. So if, as you're sending that email, just know that there are tendencies that email would get out of your department. Just put that email as if your hiring manager is going to see it. Write that email as if your head of department is going to see it, because any little thing, they have saved that email and attached it and forwarded it to somebody else. So you have to be very diplomatic with what you do. Even if somebody offended you, just have it at the back of your mind that whatever you do could leave your department somewhere else. Will you be proud of, if somebody reads a correspondence with you and another colleague or an external person, stakeholder, will you be proud of it? My line manager used to give me feedback that, oh, the head of department is very impressed with my work. I'm like, she doesn't review my work. I don't copy her in my emails. How did she know my work? The giggle I got, I just knew that somebody was monitoring my emails. Like, they're very impressed with the way you correspond with people. I'm like, how did they know? Somebody's watching you. That's a culture shock. So you can't be writing anyhow. You just have to always know that at the back of your mind, anything could happen, and you need to be able to stand tall, your head high, and defend yourself, knowing that you did the right thing. So yeah, feedback, everything is very diplomatic here. I know that my experience might not be the same with other people, but with my experience, especially because I work in a university environment, we have a very diplomatic environment. There is nothing like racism, subtle aggression, because it is a university environment, it's a learning institution, especially they're encouraging international students to participate, international hires. They wouldn't want, and then they always have to fill these surveys, anonymous surveys, where they use it to rate how friendly this institution is, which also impacts how much funding they receive for their research, their institution and stuff. So there's a lot of factors involved in how much a university can be successful. And most times, how you treat your staff, racism and all of that, all those factors, equality and diversity is taken into account. So people are very careful. So there is, it's a bit more diplomatic than maybe private companies. So there's no subtle aggression, there's no side comments, there's no bullying and all of that. So I think the last thing, I've been talking so much. The last thing is that you have to learn small talk. Small talk. Because if you don't want to, because what employers over here consider, apart from your hard skills, they also consider soft skills very well. How compatible are you with the team? So if the team is a very friendly, vibrant, sociable team, they don't want you to be the odd person. Yes, I'm the only black person in my department out of maybe 60 people, but that's the only difference. The only difference is the color of my skin. I should not be an, like, maybe an outcast, always keep to myself. So you, and how do you not do that? You have to learn small talk. You got when you get into that coffee room and see someone, you cannot just pretend like the person is not there, or you cannot just say good morning and take your coffee and go. No, you have to ask them how their weekend was. You have to, oh, I love your hair, I love your dress. You have to learn that small talk so that you're able to integrate into the team. So when you join, you observe and then pick up from there, so that they see that you are definitely meant to be in that team and that you are there to stay. You're not a threat to your team members. So I guess that's a lot of culture shock, Abby.
That small talk point. If you don't know small, better go and learn it because you need it to survive in the
You have to be
UK.
smiling a lot. Everybody smiles, whether you feel good or not. You have to smile, because if you don't smile, they're like, good morning. Yeah, you don't really need to greet. Just smile at I smile at you, you smile back. Exactly, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kuseme. This has been so insightful, especially for people who really want to know. Thank you for being so open. Some people just say, no, everything is nice, it's fine and dandy. I just applied to one job and I got an offer. But you took us through the process and you were very transparent with us. So thank you so, so much. This has been very much value packed. So do well to follow her if you want more insights. But I'm sure this has been insightful enough. But you know how Nigerians or people can be. They would want to have a 1 hour call with you to go through the step by step process. But really, you don't need that. I guess she has videos and content on her pages on what exactly she did and how she was able to get from point A to point B. So yes, you can always follow her, give her a shout out, tell her that you're from me, and yeah, thank you so much once again, Kuseme, and yes, and have a lovely evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Don't forget to share, like, and
So share and tag us. Share and tag us, and then drop any questions in the comments as well. All right. Thank you so much. Bye.